evening, viewers. Welcome to the session. Welcome, Leena, and welcome, Sunita. And today, Jaydev will be backstage, and I'm just requesting Jaydev to add the PPT, the PowerPoint as well. Now, there's a lot of news, interesting news to cover today, and so we'll just start with a small comment from Sunita. This is the age of social media. The Khan mania is done with, including the so-called Nepo kids. So now, very interesting is that also, but since you mentioned the social media, Sunita, the funny thing is Bollywood is dead. And now what Bollywood has done is like, an exodus. They have moved to YouTube. So they come with various formats, as in cookery shows, because that's all they can do, or, show their houses, or, talk about their lives. So these are the 3 points where they are trying to score it, because now their, careers in Bollywood is actually dead. So let's look at the first piece of news. We're talking about Alia and, the movie Alpha, which has just come out. So just give me a minute, please. Yeah. So let's go to the first piece of news, and we're talking about Alpha. Now, the much awaited female led edition of the YRF Yash Chopra spy universe is finally here. And what does it unveil? So now you remember this movie was delayed because of Durandar, and then the whole people acting in the movie were all trolled. So there's a lot of activity happening with regards to this movie. So now Alpha, the first, before I go on to the kind of reviews that are coming in, Alpha, it's important to note that Alpha portrays an Indian intelligence officer as the traitor. So what are we talking about? We're talking about propaganda, which comes wrapped with like gift paper, ribbons, and popcorn, and a 300 rupees ticket, and a push from the radicals and the liberals and the seculars to watch this kind of movie, where you show an Indian intelligence officer as a traitor. Now, if you look at the earlier movies that YRF Yash Chopra films have brought out, you'll see that each and every movie was a flop. Okay, you take Tiger 3, it met with a very average response. War 2 was a flop. Tiger versus Pathan was shelved, and now we have Alpha, which has been postponed. And a lot of movies have been postponed, including Salman Khan's and Shah Rukh Khan's movie and all that. And they've been trolled. And now you see when, the claim is that they have got 34 crores in India itself and around some 50 crores worldwide. And many people are saying that in the theater, they have found only 3 people. So I don't know, is this again, following on the footsteps of Pathan, where there were no people and they had just, sort of faked the numbers. So this is something very important that we must see. And in fact, one person on social media has said, the crucial Monday test has completely exposed the reality of Alpha. The film has completely crashed at the box office today with empty theaters nationwide. Alia, it is now crystal clear that the aggressive full paid promotion and artificial PR machinery did not help or benefit the film at the ticket windows. Audiences have outright rejected the weak storyline and bad execution. Now, Yash Chopra Films delivers yet another massive, undeniable disaster. It's officially game over for this one. Now, see, this is just one of the many, critics that have come on in social media. And now many people are also saying that, see, this woman, Alia Bhatt, with a very frail fame, is more like a fly, going around trying to, do all these fight shots and acting, as though she is very tough. So let's just look at what it entails. Now, the criticism that comes is that, Alia Bhatt as Alpha, her slight frame, belies her skill as a highly trained fighting machine. So it's very difficult for people to understand that this, sort of a small, tiny woman can do all this. And then you have, Fateh Singh, who is Bobby Deol, and Also, is the second in command, Sharwari, the girl they say is much better than Alia Bhatt. So she gets a few solo shots in which she shows her moves. So here they're actually saying that the other girl who is acting with Alia, Sharwari, is a bit better than the main heroine. Now, both Bobby Deol's Fauji and Anil Kapoor's Raw chief are clearly working hard at their job descriptions. They say the former is convinced that Alpha is the answer to all weaknesses amongst the armed forces. The latter wants to save her from all her enemies, of whom she is oblivious. So, I mean, that shows a part of Alia's true nature, because whenever she comes across in an interview, she comes across as absolutely unaware of what's happening around the world, and almost ignorant. She comes across as almost ignorant. Now, they also say what prevents Alpha from being a slick, smart spy thriller, which clearly the intention is that the old Yash Chopra film's weakness. The writing is borrowed and stale, which is what happens in most Yash Chopra films, reminding us of numerous films we have seen before. Amongst the few nice touches is a brief appearance by Dia Mirza as the mother of the brave Alpha, and manages to leave a mark and some well executed action sequences in which Alia and Sharwari go bang bang. So this is something, very, very, it's actually saying, showing that the movie is absolutely, silly. So let me just add on the pictures. So just give me a minute, please. Yeah. So when you're talking about, let me just also take a comment. Welcome, Jazz, and welcome, Athena. And here, see, when Sunita says when Khans were at their peak, whatever they did was wondrous to the audience. But now, youngsters as young as 16 or 17 dance so beautifully and are multi talented too. So, why do people want to buy a movie? So, this is something that everybody is asking. And Sunita, your question is very valid. Tickets plus headache. Yeah. So, welcome, Priya, and let's just add the picture as well. Yeah. So yeah. So now, when there is raw, there will be a lot of enemies from across the border. But here I always feel that Yash Chopra has a very good friend in Pakistan. There is horrors, a Pakistani mole in their midst. Now, when have we seen that before? There are patriotic Indian soldiers, arrayed to keep the nation safe, a forgettable song and dance set in a sunny European destination is stuffed in clearly because well-toned midriffs need airing. Now, maybe it needs to be better choreographed, is what they say. Some chunks are set in wet Cherrapunji. Now, that's a new one, but for the rest, the film takes us into a usual dank office in New Delhi with officials exchanging dire notes, maybe things that they picked up from Durandar, and to scenic but familiar stretches in Rajasthan and Ladakh and Kashmir, with helicopters carrying troops, jeeps, hoisting bazookas, and fellows in fatigues shooting and scooting. No one speaks in lines. They lurch from one dialogue to another while daddy issues and parental props come flooding in. Now, in a picturesque monastery, the old Yash Chopra spy universe hand Kabir. Now, we're talking about Hrithik Roshan, who's also made it. Now, he comes from somewhere and goes somewhere. He shows up to help the girls, and he's dressed, believe it or faint, as a monk, and action sequence featuring the monk and the girls ensues, which feels as if it took inspiration from a John Wick film. He instructs them now leave. Other men, including the raw chief, give them orders. So, see, in essence, it's a film telling us to believe that a lone female ranger can blow up a massive superstructure housing a gigantic lab, running a scheme thought up by a mad scientist type, and this highly trained assassin will then meekly do what she's told. It would fit in if the film was going in for the fun comic book feel of Pathan, where eye rolls are served along with eye-watering, high-octane scenes. But Alpha asks us to take it seriously. it ends up dull and dreary. So these are the kind of reviews that we are watching, and we know that this is not a movie that we would want to go and watch ourselves. As Sunita very clearly said, tickets plus a headache. No, we do not want that. We'd wait for a better movie to come for us to watch. So one thing is very clear that they have tried their best to sort of make Alia work, because there have been umpteen movies in which she has been given so much of importance, and they've been trying to push her, obviously, because she is the daughter of none other than Mahesh Bhatt, and Mahesh Bhatt seems to have a very important role in Bollywood. So they have tried their best, but this woman, just doesn't succeed, and now she is just added to the, this huge flop, which they say has already made 34 crores, which is a huge, huge lie, according to people who've gone to theaters, and they say that theaters are half empty, and sometimes there are only three people. So this is something that, again, Bollywood is lying through its teeth. So it's something that you won't believe, and especially the fact that, see, they waited for the Durandar rage to be over for this to come, because they know comparisons will be made. And then do you think that just by showing offices in Delhi, government offices in Delhi, and similar scenes from Durandar, it's going to impact the audience? It's content that really matters. If the content is not good, nobody is going to watch. Now Priyanka says, our time and money is precious, so don't waste it on these people. And Lancelot says, boycott Alpha, Alia, Bollywood. Do not waste your hard-earned money on Charsi, Bollywood. So what's happened is, again, as I told you, Bollywood is now absolutely, sitting on their backsides, doing nothing, because it has become bankrupt, especially after the death of Sushant Singh Rajput and Disha Salia. So here you see, even in the scene that we are watching, this other girl gets more importance because she acts better than Alia. And she is only, I'm sure many of you would have seen her advertisements, and she seems to be, they say, much better than Alia. So this is another huge disaster for Alia. Now moving on to the next piece of news. So let's move on to, yeah. Now, Rahul Gandhi has criticized transport rules. He says MSMEs are being hurt. Now, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has accused the central government of introducing transport regulations that are hurting small and medium enterprises, which is MSMEs, particularly local bus and truck body building workshops. He argued that these businesses, which provide employment to skilled workers and contribute to the economy, are struggling because of rules that place heavy responsibilities on them. Sharing a video from his visit to a workshop in Jaipur, Rahul Gandhi said the government's policies favor large industrial groups while making it difficult for small manufacturers to survive. He claimed that initiatives such as Make in India and Vocal for Local lose credibility if local industries continue to face regulatory burdens. According to him, if these workshops are forced to shut down, thousands of artisans could lose their livelihoods. Valuable manufacturing skills could disappear, and the country's employment situation could worsen. He also praised the craftsmanship of workers in these units, saying their work deserves encouragement rather than restrictive regulations. The Congress leader noted that he had earlier met Road Transport Minister Gadkari along with representatives of the industry to seek relief. However, workshop owners featured in the video said their concerns remain unresolved and alleged that current policies benefit larger companies over smaller businesses. The regulations are safety driven and apply across the industry, is what BJP says. Any compliance requirements are justified by the need to ensure safer commercial vehicles, and the government has indicated it is willing to discuss implemented issues with affected businesses. Now, my question to Rahul Gandhi would be that since you're so concerned about the welfare of each and every Indian, we would like to know, in the in the term that Modi has been the longest serving prime minister, which is a long time, what has Congress contributed to the common man. If there's even one thing that they have contributed, that is what he should be talking about, rather than complaining all the time. If you look at the DNA of Congress or the other opposition, it's always to criticize. So if they really wanted India to do well from their side, their party side, they can do a lot of good work, which will come, in their stead when elections come. Because if they do good work, people are going to vote for them. But if you keep on complaining and putting obstacles, in Modi's path, all we are going to see you is as a crybaby. So this is something that people are not going to take, because Indians are intelligent and they know what works for them and what does not work for them. So Madan Rao says Karachi wood is now irrelevant. Dhurandhar has drawn such a huge standard, it has left the Karachi wood bewildered. So good. And Ms. Srinivasan says, so good it's flop. Wish more yet to come. Absolutely. And Sunita says, only nonsense welfare schemes that are there by making the populace more lazy. Yes, so unless we have concrete good ideas coming from Congress or from the other opposition parties, we are not going to take them seriously. Each time he says that I went and met Gadkari and these are the things that we want done. Okay, from your side, what is the Congress doing? You just take a small state like Karnataka. Even now, SIR, which is being conducted in Karnataka, they are saying that also is being, fudged. People's everything is becoming, all that they're doing is, taking anyone's, details and putting it in the SIR. So there also they are not, giving the truth, because now BJP is up in arms. In fact, tomorrow we will be speaking to Mr. Mohandas Pai in this about the situation, because he has been tweeting continuously about how SIR is being fudged in Karnataka. So this is something very, very important that we'll be discussing tomorrow. And so there's nothing that they are really contributing to, is what we would feel and say. Now, Priyanka says, Rahul Gandhi should give a few examples of their facilities to common men. Absolutely. So this is something very important. What are they doing? If they are doing something, that's useful to Indians, yes, we will naturally vote for you. But all the time you're complaining about things, when the Congress rule states themselves should improve 10 times more, to give people better infrastructure. The roads in Karnataka are not even drivable, and everywhere you have traffic jams. And if it rains, all the roads are logged with water. So what are we looking at? Try to improve your state. We are all willing to give you a chance. Try to improve it, and then let's see. That would be the kind of response that people would be asking for. So moving on to the next piece of news. Yeah. Earlier this week, Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar's government completed 1 month in office. Although it's a short period to judge a government's performance, the change of guard seems to have brought fresh energy to the administration, which looked jaded, especially in the last few months of Siddaramaia's tenure. After recovering from the initial shock of the portfolio allocation with 2 senior ministers sulking, the CM has managed to keep the spotlight on his government rather than on the political uncertainty in his party. Unlike his predecessor, the CM has avoided open confrontation with the union government and has so far refrained from joining his party leaders in the state in aggressively criticizing the RSS. However, it is just the beginning, and the Congress government has a long way to go. Maintaining the same tempo and cohesiveness in the government is a Herculean task. Now, the government presently functions with just 13 ministers out of 34-member capacity cabinet. Of these, only 2 are new faces, and the rest were a part of the previous cabinet. If the Congress leadership decides to give a majority of the remaining berths to new faces, the seniors hoping to return to the cabinet would be aggrieved. However, if most seniors are accommodated again, it would leave new aspirants disappointed. Either way, it's a tricky situation. Congress will be counting on the new government's performance for the 2028 polls, but how those left out respond will also be crucial. It would be interesting to see how the party strikes a balance between the loyalists of Shivakumar, Siddaramaiah, and AICC President Mallikarjun Kharge in the cabinet expansion. So Shiv says SIR started in Bangalore. In fact, Shiv will be speaking about this with Mohandas Pai tomorrow, and you will also get an idea because a lot of the people are very critical about SIR being fudged, and a lot of the names just being included in the list. So this is something he's going to speak about tomorrow. So I hope you'll join us. And so Priyanka says SIR is for safety of real Indian citizens and remove fake Indians. See, this is what happened in West Bengal, Priyanka, and I hope this will happen here. But these people learn how to dodge all the rules, and get their way. So they have been getting people, from Hyderabad and other places, to do this SIR. So this is something very, very, something very sneaky, and what the Congress is known for. So this is something that we'll have to watch and be very careful about. Moving on to the next piece of news. Now the SIT probing the alleged misappropriation of donations at the Ayodhya Sri Ram Mandir has unearthed fresh details that point to a wider and more organized network than initially suspected. While the investigation first focused on the alleged theft of cash offerings from the temple's donation boxes, officials now claim that gold and silver ornaments donated by devotees were also systematically diverted. The alleged involvement of a network extending to Karnataka has added a new dimension to the high-profile probe. So, investigators believe the alleged fraud began during the process of weighing and recording gold ornaments offered by devotees. While devotees reportedly donated gold weighing 26 or 27 kilograms on certain occasions, records allegedly reflected only 25 kilograms by rounding down the figures. Officials suspect that the discrepancy allowed a portion of the ornaments to be siphoned off without attracting immediate attention. The investigation has further revealed that the stolen gold and silver were allegedly transported out of Uttar Pradesh instead of being processed locally. According to SIT sources, the accused believed that melting the ornaments within Ayodhya would expose the fraud. Instead, the precious metals were allegedly packed into bags and transported by train to Karnataka, while members of the syndicate reportedly traveled separately by air to coordinate the operations. Officials, now this is going to be very shocking for you. Officials suspect that the ornaments were subsequently melted into gold biscuits, making it difficult to identify or recover the original jewelry donated by the devotees. The SIT is now examining the role of nearly 200 individuals who are believed to have been directly or indirectly associated with the alleged network. And the investigation has also uncovered allegations of large-scale cash diversion from the temple's donation and collections. During interrogation, one of the arrested accused, Avinash Shukla, allegedly disclosed that between 6 lakh and 8 lakh was siphoned off from the daily donation collections. Can you imagine that? The money was reportedly shared among members of the syndicate at a park located near the temple premises, with the alleged kingpin Tinu Yadav receiving a larger share than the others. So this man, Tinu Yadav, who is the kingpin, received a larger share than the others. Investigators say banking records appear to support these allegations. Earlier, daily deposit into the temple's designated SBI account reportedly ranged between 16 lakhs and 18 lakhs. After the alleged racket was exposed and tighter monitoring was introduced, the daily deposits have reportedly increased to 24 to 26 lakhs, indicating that a significant, a portion of the donations may have been diverted earlier. Acting on disclosures made during interrogation, the SIT has seized a second-hand car allegedly linked to the accused's brother Abhishek. Officials claim that jewelry, cash, and several documents related to financial transactions were recovered from the vehicle. Now, the probe has now intensified, with investigators preparing to seek custody of the alleged prime accused. His name is Tinu Yadav for further questioning. The investigation has also widened to include scrutiny of financial records maintained by the Temple Trust. Three chartered accountants identified as Chandan Rai, Narpat Thopia, and Akshay have reportedly been questioned regarding accounting procedures and financial documentation connected to the temple's donation. Meanwhile, a meeting of the Ram Mandir Trust is scheduled for July 6th, during which the reported resignation of Trustee Anil Mishra and Trust General Secretary Champat Rai are expected to be discussed. Separately, a petition seeking transfer of the investigation to the CBI has been filed before the Allahabad High Court Lucknow bench, with the matter likely to come up for hearing shortly. As the SIT continues to unravel the scam, investigators are attempting to establish the complete money trail and identify all those who may have benefited from the diversion of donations and precious ornaments meant for the temple. The probe remains ongoing, and officials believe further revelations could emerge in the coming days. So this not only comes as a shocker, but also the fact that the moment Akhilesh Yadav raised this, and when Rahul Gandhi also joined the bandwagon, we realized there's something very, very hanky-panky happening in this case, and I'm sure this is going to come out and this is going to hit them very, very badly. So this is, an interesting part, because already I think some people are getting nervous about the kind of revelations that are coming, and let's hope that the people who are involved do get, a sentence that is quite, will make them think twice before they do it again. And we have Karuna saying, "Hi, ma'am, boycott Bollywood." So, in fact, before I close this session, I'd also like to remark on, the Amir Khan marriage that has just happened. Now, Amir Khan has married for the third time. Now, he himself is, I think, around 61 years, and his wife is around in her 40s. So it's like, again, he did some cradle snatching, because she's literally 20 years younger to him. Now, the surprising fact is that a lot of the people are saying, why does Amir Khan, who's a staunch Muslim, go only for Hindu women? So this is something that has made people very, very curious. And if you were to look at the latest, sort of rulings that's happening in, states like Assam, where now, any marriage that is extra more than one, these people will land in jail. So this is something that, if Amir Khan, were in Assam, he would be behind bars. So this, though it may sound amusing, it's also very silly, because you have both the earlier wives also attending the wedding. It's such a kind of, it's so mocking. The whole thing is so real mockery of marriage and, the sanctity of marriage. So that's another thing coming from Bollywood. So Shiv says, is the government failing to convince people on ethanol? A lot of propaganda is being spread by the opposition. This is something we look at in the coming session, Shiv. So with this, we end the session. We'll see you tomorrow with a lot more news. Good night, Jai Hind, and Jai Shri Ram.